Hey, how's it going? Hey, hey, hey. It's me, Sonic. I'm just kidding. It's Squirty. 4. It's Squirty 4. Um, hey everybody. How's it going? Welcome to the first, of what I would like to call the STREAMCAST stream, where it's going to be a very interesting kind of stream that I do for these sorts of these streams. I finally have the opportunity to stream Dreamcast games because today, guess what today is? Today is September 9th, 2024, which marks officially 25 years since the Sega Dreamcast came out, all the way back. Well, technically it came out November 28th, 1998 in Japan, which means it's technically 26-ish, or maybe 25 and 3/4 of a years old. But that's not what matters here. What matters is that it's the 25th anniversary of the American launch of the Sega Dreamcast. What you're listening to now is some games from the Sega Dreamcast. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Pretty good game. Before that, it was Sonic Adventure, Mystic Ruins and stuff. And a bunch of other songs for the Sega Dreamcast you were listening to. And now, I'm just very excited to finally do this sort of retro gaming stream. It's finally happening, guys. We did it. Guys, we did it. Cordy 4 is finally streaming retro games like he said he would. Yeah, Cordy, we love you. You're so awesome. You're so cool. Sorry, forgive me. Anyways, I'm just so excited, man. You do not know how much I love the Sega Dreamcast. It's like my new favorite console now. Because I don't know if any of y'all saw one of my tweets earlier in the morning where I basically said, today marks the 25th anniversary of my favorite console ever, the Sega Dreamcast. I remember my neighbor lending me their Dreamcast a while ago, and it got me into the Sega Dreamcast ever since. True story, by the way. They lended. They lent me their Dreamcast. They lended me their Dreamcast a while ago. Ever since then, I was just pretty much I was smitten. I was absolutely smitten. I absolutely was smitten by this console's amazing library of games and its capabilities. But I'm also kind of saddened by, how short of a lifespan it had. It didn't really have that much of a lifespan. It was only around for 3 years? Yeah, about 3 years before it officially got discontinued. I think around March 2001. That's when it was announced that Sega was discontinuing the Sega Dreamcast. Although I imagine they were going to do that anyway, but they just had to announce it around that time. But either way, I then capped off, or I don't know if I would say capped off. I ended the tweet by saying, here's to another 25 years old friend. And it's just, I think we should learn more about the Sega Dreamcast together, Why not? We've made it this far. We've made it this far with the Sega Dreamcast. Might as well learn a little bit more about it. Alright, let me see here. There we go. Pulling up segaretro.org/Sega_Dreamcast. The Sega Dreamcast. The Dreamcast, or Dreamcast, is a home video game console manufactured by Sega as a successor to the Sega Saturn. Which, by the way, fun little story about that. The music. It's not meant to be sad, bro. It's a celebration of the Dreamcast. Why is this music playing? Come on. Wait. No, let me play some happy music. Come on. Yeah, Echo the Dolphin. Yeah. That's better. Yeah, the Sega Dreamcast. Um, it's a successor to the Sega Saturn, as it's said here. One thing that is worth noting, I have a Sega Saturn, too. In fact, I bought it, a month or so ago, I think? I love that console, too. That console's pretty cool. In fact, just today, I bought, a satiator from Professor Abrasive's website. Pretty cool, dude. Okay, this music's actually kind of a little... loud. What about that? Yeah. Yeah, I have the satiator, no, I don't have it actually. No. Well, what am I saying? Sorry, forgive me. I don't have it yet, but I did buy it today, and this isn't the first EverDrive I've gotten. The second one, this is the second one actually. The first one I got was actually earlier than that, a week ago. About a week ago, sort of. Every time I think I hear someone say "about a week ago," I think about that song. About a week ago. Yeah, but about a week ago, I bought the SNES EverDrive, the FX Pack Pro from Krikzz. Krikzz, I think that's how you say his name. The guy's from Ukraine, and he makes his stuff overseas, so with all that being said, it might take a while for it to get over here. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes here by the end of the month. But either way, the satiator from Professor Abrasive, this is the second EverDrive that I bought. So I bought not one, but two EverDrives just in the span of the first weeks of the month alone. Which, by the way, it's very expensive, but I'm able to afford it because of how hard I'm working at my job. So don't buy it if you can't afford it. Because even though I'm able to afford it, I'm able to work off the money that I lost from it, and get more out of it so I can pay for rent. But either way, I bought this stuff, and I'm hoping that it comes through. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry, forgive me. We're talking about the Sega Dreamcast. Dubbed as Sega's, quote, super console, unquote. It is a, quote, 128-bit, unquote, machine. The Bit Wars, or something, weren't they? Designed with cutting-edge hardware and a focus on the internet, which we will get to that, at a later point. Might not be tonight, but maybe sometime later down the road. We might get into that. Might even do some Phantasy Star Online streams, too. Because I think a lot of people play that game on Saturday. I know, I think Dreamcastic does Saturday streams of Phantasy Star Online. He likes to do Worms World Party, too, on, Fridays, I think. Or maybe, I think... Or maybe it's, some other days. I don't know. Sorry, forgive me. Anyways, the Dreamcast was originally released in Japan November 1998, specifically... Oh, I thought it was 28th. I thought it was the 28th. I guess it was the 27th. So I guess November 27th, 1998, before seeing a Western release the following year... Sorry, forgive me. The following year, on the famous 9999. And honestly, that's something worth noting. I want to show some, Actually, I don't know if I can show anything like that. I mean, I could show maybe some commercials, maybe? Before we get into, the console itself. I don't know. The Dreamcast was Sega's seventh and final home video game console and was discontinued in early 2001. Which honestly just sucks. Like, that is just... That just sucks, man. You hate to see such a great console last so shortly. There's so much potential behind it. It could have been one of the greats. But because of Sega's financial issues at the time, they fricked it up. For everybody involved, at least internally. I imagine everybody else is having a good time. At least the consumers. But Sega? Oh, no. It was probably a different story. You can probably find videos on YouTube that talk about that. But either way. Yeah, it says due to financial constraints within the company. Yeah, pretty much. It has sold at least 8.2 million hardware units and 51.63 million software units by March 2001, with estimates suggesting 10.6 million hardware units in total. That's crazy. Like, I mean, to be fair, it's not like, you know, the best-selling console of all time. Like, I mean, compared to, like, the PlayStation 2's whopping over 150-something million units sold, I think, in the first few years, maybe first few months. I don't know. Everyone was just hyped about the PS2. That's kind of what another thing that wrecked the Dreamcast's hopes for the future, sadly. I mean, that and financial constraints. I mean, yeah, mostly financial constraints. But I think it's kind of more, I guess, interesting to think that, oh, it was also, you know, it was also like just the PS2 competition. There was much more competition. The GameCube, even though it also didn't really do as well, but it somehow did better than the Dreamcast somehow. And honestly, like, considering that, you know, hold on. Oh, no. Think about here, maybe? Yeah. Okay, there we go. Sorry, forgive me. Yeah, as I was saying, there is a lot about the Dreamcast that caused it to fail. Financially and commercially. It was a very innovative console, for sure. But at the end of the day, we can't deny that, you know, it wasn't meant to be a long-lasting console, sadly, because of the many things that happened internally over at Sega. We can all pin the blame on Sony and the PlayStation 2 being, you know, beating out, you know, Sega, you know, and to be fair, also the GameCube and the Xbox, the OG Xbox. Just because everybody was so hyped about it. You know, the PlayStation did so well, and the PS2 was something that everyone was hyped about. And then the PS3 came out in 2006, and no one was interested, you know, in that. Or maybe they were, but they were just shocked about, you know, the $599 US sort of thing, you know? I think really it all really boils down to just commercial, the Dreamcast being a commercial flop due to the landscape at the time. It just couldn't compete with it. It just couldn't. You could make all the arguments you want about, you know, what if, and like, what if it succeeded? What if it actually lasted longer than March 2001 or so? And honestly, it's fun to think about these things, but like, I don't think it's worth really delving into these things. Because at the end of the day, it's already over. The Dreamcast has already run its course. All we can really do now is just celebrate, you know, what it's accomplished and how many lives it's touched over the course of many decades. Or you know, since the 25 years it's been around. 26, sort of, if you're in Japan. But either way, so yeah, it says with estimates suggesting 10.6 million hardware units in total. So that means, a good chunk of it was sold, but another 1/4 of the chunk of it, wasn't sold. So that means they're just laying around in warehouses somewhere. Probably were laid to waste in ashes and dumpsters. You know, forever gone, and no longer really something you can salvage because they've been probably reduced to ashes because they wrote it off as like a financial tax write-off, maybe. I don't know. Sorry, forgive me. Anyways, an arcade counterpart to the Dreamcast exists at the Sega Naomi. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah. Looking at all this, like, the Dreamcast uses a proprietary format of storage called GD-ROMs for games in order to circumvent software piracy. A strategy that ultimately backfired when the first run of discs had a high rate of defects. Also, it's how we're going to be able to play these games, tonight. We'll get to that in a little bit. The Dreamcast is a small white box with aesthetics designed to appeal to a wide-ranging audience. But, yeah, it looks like, considering all we know about it, the format was also cracked fairly quickly, and in some cases the pirated games were released before the legitimate versions. I want to know much about that. Sega largely had themselves to blame for the high levels of Dreamcast piracy. Again, like I said, Sega themselves were what ruined the Dreamcast. They made it, and they also ruined it. Sadly, it really is a tragedy, what happened to the Dreamcast, because it's such a great console. It really is. It really is such an amazing console. Their use of the GD-ROM format was completely undermined by the console's support for the mil-CD format, which allowed the console to boot from a standard CDR, which is, again, how we're going to be playing these games tonight. I don't know about y'all, but, I have me a bunch of games off of CDs. Mil CD support was removed from the final Dreamcast revisions towards the end of the console. So pretty much the VA2 versions. And maybe some other VA1s, but maybe I think all VA1s are compatible with this whole Mil CD format piracy thing. And look, by the way, I just wanted to say, I understand, how piracy is wrong. I understand that. However, I just wanted to say, if a game that is made available to someone is then taken away from them, a la The Crew, or a game is just so unplayable because of the many anti-piracy measures, de novo, then yeah, people might pirate it. It's like it's as the great God Gaben once said. Piracy isn't a pricing issue; it's a service issue. Something along those lines. So if you have crappy service, people aren't going to buy your products because of the way you present them. And even if the service that you provide is crappy and some people still go out and buy it anyway, it might not even be as best as they thought it would. It might not be even up to par with what they thought it would be because of the anti-piracy measures. Again, de novo. But still, with games like this, like for the Sega Dreamcast, piracy, I understand that they wanted to create their own proprietary format, but having that, it doesn't really limit piracy. It just limits your audience. And to be fair, that's also another reason why the Dreamcast failed. It was using a format that wasn't, standard, at the time, because at the time I think DVDs were starting to become a big thing. In fact, I think that's what it says here. The GD-ROM format also put the console at a disadvantage competing against the PlayStation 2, yeah. The PS2 used DVDs, and could therefore run DVD videos, making it an inexpensive DVD player, which again, that's also why people bought a PS2. Because it not only was a game console, it also doubled as a DVD media player. It was an all-in-one entertainment medium. That's why everybody loved it. It set a new standard for entertainment as a whole. That's why everybody loves the PS2. And I like the PS2 as well, but, like, I love the Dreamcast even more, personally. That's just me, though. As well as a video game console, yeah. DVD-ROMs also has more storage, or have more storage space. They have more storage space, yeah. DVD-ROMs also have more storage space, allowing for bigger games, though the initial run of PS2 games used a blue CD-ROM format. I want to see what those look like. Sega looked into DVD technology during the Dreamcast development, but claimed it was too expensive. Really? Really? It was too expensive for you to do that? I mean, Sega, you make very great games, but, like, you couldn't even be bothered to put in at least a little bit of an investment into making bank on one of the most hottest, formats of the time? At the time? Because at the time, DVDs were becoming a big thing in the 1990s, late 1990s and the early 2000s. You think that they would have made bank on that? Like, I think DVDs were even around even before 1998, before 1999, They were definitely around at the time, I believe. So and even then, most companies are made aware about these sorts of things, through, like, whispers or rumors, around the company or something like that. So, like, it's not like how, the consumer market isn't really all that aware about certain things, when compared to, like, some stuff like new pieces of media. Like, I'm pretty sure Sega was more than aware about the rise of DVD even before the Sega Dreamcast was being made. Or maybe during its development, They just thought, oh, maybe, I mean, yeah, everybody's doing that thing, but maybe we should do this thing, What if, with all these DVDs out there, it could cause piracy, you know what I mean? So maybe we should, maybe create our own format so people don't pirate our games. And then that ended up backfiring on them massively, and then now, you're able to, I mean, to be fair, it benefits me at the end of the day because I'm able to play these games on a CDR. That's all I'm saying. What, you want me to say anything else? No, I have the games. Don't question it. Sorry, forgive me. Anyways, the Dreamcast was So Dreamcast was the first video game console to ship with a built-in 56K modem, which is honestly kind of weird how they did that, because I think Ethernet and broadband was becoming a big thing around the late 90s as well. It would have made sense in the mid-90s, and they did kind of do that with the Sega Saturn and, like, the Netlink modem cartridge, which I do want to get for my Sega Saturn, but either way, it's a little weird how they just had it built in with, like, a modem, but not Ethernet. That would have been a really big deal. That would have actually helped. Maybe. But then again, a lot of the games would have to accommodate for it. Maybe there might be, some games that think, with online, stuff, being a big thing, maybe we should really, really bank hard on this. And they would make so many games that are online focused only. And we might have seen, like, the first instance of, like, live service gaming before live service gaming. Maybe. I don't know. Again, I don't really like to think about the what-ifs, but again, at the same time, I also really like to think about the what-if scenarios of these things. I'm telling you, this is interesting. Okay? It's interesting to me. Anyways, with broadband adapters being made available later on in certain regions, which, I mean, I might get a broadband adapter. Maybe. They're like at least like 130-ish, maybe a little bit more on eBay. Might be able to get one, maybe. But it's like, that will only be for like certain games, but hey, maybe it's worth it. I don't Might make browsing on the internet for the Dreamcast more faster, which we might get into that a little bit. You know, not I don't know about a little bit, maybe later on. I don't know. This allows the system to connect to the internet using a custom, fully functional web browser and email client. Many games released for the Dreamcast shipped with online play modes, which is very interesting. The most popular being Phantasy Star Online and the Sega Sports lineup, now published under the ESPN label. Thanks for clarifying that it's now published under the ESPN label. As if we didn't know that already. Although the other consoles before the Dreamcast had network gaming support, like, the Sega Saturn, and even some 4th gen online gaming such as Sega Channel, and X-Band. Which I don't know if we can talk about that later on, but I don't know. Such as Sega Saturn's network. Oh, I gotta read this. Hold on. The Sega Genesis. I'm sorry, I'm calling it the Genesis. I call it Genesis, bro. I'm sorry, forgive me. X-Band. The Dreamcast was the first game console to include this ability out of the box, and is therefore considered the first internet-enabled home game system. And that's another reason why I like this console. Because I like online gaming, believe it or not. I actually do like that. So, it's like this console had internet built in right when you bought it. It was one of the central things about the Dreamcast that made it so unique. You gotta admit, that for 1998 and 1999, that was kind of revolutionary for its time. It really is. Still sucks that it didn't last as long, though. I'm sorry, forgive me. Anyways, the Dreamcast has a modest hacking enthusiast community. The availability of Windows CE software development kits on the internet, as well as ports of Linux, Dreamcast NetBSD, operating systems of Dreamcast gave programmers a selection of familiar development tools to work with, even though they do not really support the high-speed graphics. The high-speed graphics. What does that mean? I don't know. Sorry, forgive me. Anyways, a homebrew minimal operating system called Callisti OS offers support for most hardware while not offering multitasking, which is superfluous for games. Many emulators and other tools such as MP3, DivX Play, DivX. Remember DivX? Yeah, me neither. Actually, I kind of remember it, but still. And image viewers have been ported to or written for the console, taking advantage of the relative ease with which a home user can write a CD, which is bootable by an unmodified Dreamcast. Interesting. Oh, aren't you gonna play games for CD, burn CDs on unmodified Dreamcast, Squirty? Yes, I am. We'll get into that in a little bit. Hold on. Simmer down now. Simmer down now. We'll get into that in a little bit. Sega released an arcade board using the same technology as the Dreamcast called Sega Naomi, leading to many Dreamcast exclusive games of a high level of arcade quality. Yeah, because the Dreamcast and, the Sega Naomi were basically one and the same. That's what makes it so unique. Because whenever you play on a Sega Dreamcast and you play those games, you get arcade level quality games because it's literally the same architecture as the ones in the arcades. That's what I also love about the Sega Dreamcast. There's so many arcade quality, arcade perfect even, arcade exquisite games that you can play and enjoy to your heart's content. Crazy Taxi, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which I'm glad they're porting to the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, fighting game collection, arcade classics thing. I might buy that soon. On Steam. Might do that. Might have to invest heavily into a fighting, stick. Arcade stick. But it'll be worth it! But yeah. It's gonna be interesting. To see what games we get to play on the Sega Dreamcast and see what it has to offer. The Dreamcast's Power VR CLX2. I've never even spelled N-E-V-E-R. I never spelled N-E-V-E-R, even knew that there was a VR system thing. Unless this isn't VR. Is it? Because there's no real way to tell where they got this source from. It was the first GPU for a home system with hardware capabilities such as bump mapping, volumetric effects, order-independent transparency, and .3 normal mapping. And here's the models. So this says designed for Windows CE, Microsoft Windows CE, for the Japanese version. And also, this is kind of a little bit more... The gray on this is a little bit, more different than the North American one. I guess you could say this is more opaque, and this is more translucent? Is that the word? I don't know. Sorry, forgive me. But one thing that's worth noting, this says, the US version says compatible with Microsoft Windows CE. I'm sure Cybershell, if you watch this video about unique Sega Dreamcast variants, probably goes into more detail about these sorts of models, but anyways. The PAL version says compatible with Microsoft Windows CE and has a blue swirl, which I think has something to do with, a copyright to do with, a European company called Tivola, which had a similar logo, a red swirly logo, and so, Sega just didn't want any lawsuits, going their way because of that, so they decided for the, European release of the Dreamcast, they would have a blue swirl, which honestly, I don't know why they didn't do that for all regions, because, Sega's logo is, blue. Sega, the blue Sega. Everybody knows that Sega logo is blue. Everybody knows that. It's blue. In fact, here's a little bit more of an explanation. Japanese Dreamcast can be identified by the triangle at the front of the unit. Though the power LED is identical across all regions, the piece of plastic attached to the lid of the Japanese model is transparent. Yeah, it's transparent. Close enough. While in North America, it is gray. The Japanese models also have the text, quote, designed for Microsoft Windows CE, unquote, printed on the front right, whereas Western versions say, quote, compatible with Microsoft Windows CE, unquote. And the page does not exist for this special Dreamcast models because you can just watch Cybershell's video about it. There's a Hebrew Dreamcast? What? Hebrew Dreamcast? Was it released in Israel? That'd be interesting if there was something like that. And yeah, here's some interesting images. Man, look at that. Look at that. Look at that, bro. Man, if you saw this in the 90s, wouldn't that be so cool? Wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't you want that? Oh yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 music. I love this. Love these songs. Yeah, yeah, look at that. That's just so cool. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. That's just... This makes you want to get one because of just how cool it makes it look. Just look at that. Wow, where are they going? Yeah, where are they going? This looks like a thumbnail. It has the border background and everything like you see in some ordinary gamers' thumbnails. Sorry, forgive me. I watch this content sometimes. Still, like, it looks cool though. It looks cool. And then you see one with a keyboard. Keyboard and stuff. It's really cool. Yeah. And here's a really good one. Man, look at that. That's just... Like, doesn't this just make you want to get one? I know I would want to get one. Actually, no, wait, I already have one. Actually, I have two. The original one that my neighbors lent it to me a long while ago. And I bought another one right when I moved in here, because I wanted to have something to play in the meantime, while also being able to play burned games onto here. Because believe it or not, the one they lent me, the one my neighbors lent me, was a VA2, which doesn't allow you to play burned games on CDs. So that means I had to buy another, Dreamcast. Now, here's the thing, though. I know that using an emulator seems like something everybody likes to do when you can't afford consoles like this. But personally, I like buying these consoles and playing it using, FPGA. Is that the term? FPGA? Yeah, FPGA, EverDrives. But there really isn't something like that for the Dreamcast. There is something for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES, and the Sega Saturn. Excuse me. But not the Dreamcast. You would think that maybe, considering that the Dreamcast has, a modem built in, because, if you were to look at this, look at this. This part right here detaches. You can detach it and replace it with the Ethernet, thing. The broadband adapter thing. Why can't someone just make something like that, but for an EverDrive? I think that would be kind of cool. Because not only would you get internet compatibility, just like with a Dream Pi, which is what I'm using to be able to connect to the internet with my Dreamcast. Bought that a while ago too. Works like a charm. Had to get it working, even with the internet that I have in my apartment complex, but it works. But you could just detach this thing, you can just replace it with something else. So I would love to see someone make some sort of EverDrive, just anything that you can plug into, because it really is just unplug it and then plug it in. It's just someone, somewhere, please, I beg of you, make an EverDrive that plugs in out of this thing and then plugs into this thing. Take this out, take this crappy ass thing out. Forgive my language, sorry. Forgive me. But just make an EverDrive with a micro SD card. I don't want this goddamn, serial, Dream Shell SD thing, because it doesn't work with Thomas Wave ports. Because I want to get into games that, were made for the Dream, not only just for the Dreamcast, but for games that have the Dreamcast architecture. Such as the Sega Naomi arcade ports and the Thomas Wave ports. So, yeah, I just wanted to see someone actually do something like this and make it work. Because, I just think that would just be a really cool idea. Why hasn't anyone done that? I would do it if I could, but I don't know goddamn crap about how to make EverDrives, let alone, making, video games. Which, I wouldn't mind making a video game one day, but still. Still, I just wanted to see something like this work, I want to see something like this work. Make it happen, folks. Make it happen. Make it happen. Make an EverDrive that plugs in and out like this. Don't even bother with the serial port. Just use this. It's much better, honestly. You can get Ethernet or, modem port and a built-in SD card slot, so you don't have to worry about, not being able to play your discs anymore. You can still play your burned discs and use an SD card, like I can with my Saturn. Seriously, it's a no-brainer. Really, I don't know why no one's done this. Seriously, it just makes so much sense to me. Here's another one. Which one is this? Oh, I think that's the Japanese model. Yeah, this is designed for Windows CE. Yeah, you know what? You can tell this is a Japanese model because this is much more shinier. Very shiny. This part of the triangle is much more shinier than the other ones. that red or blue? I don't know. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Basically everything you need to know about the Sega Dreamcast so far. Now, onto the games. The launch titles. The one thing that y'all have probably been waiting for. So, like, here's the thing. When it comes down to it, we're going to be playing mostly in North American launch games. Probably going to be playing Sonic Adventure first. And then going from alphabetical order after that. I might only just play a little bit of Sonic Story. And then, after that we can just play all these other games too. We might also play some of the Japanese launch titles too, and even the European ones, which I have some of these. Managed to get a few working. I did some prep work before stream to make sure that I got all these launch titles working properly, so should be fun. And according to Moby Games, these are the games that apparently came out in 1999. Some of them apparently came out in 1998. Excuse me. I don't know what that's all about, but it's whatever. Anyways, oh hey, what's up? Hey, you're here just in time. We're about to play some Dreamcast launch games. I just went into an in-depth explanation of the Sega Dreamcast. You missed that. Oh man, you should have been there for that. We were just talking about how I felt like, the Dreamcast should have its own EverDrive, because recently I just bought an EverDrive for my Sega Saturn. Bruh, yeah. Like, look at this. Like, tell me that this doesn't unplug itself, and you can just replace it with something else. Like an EverDrive. Like, you could literally just replace this little thing, and then give it the Ethernet treatment, or make it compatible with both Ethernet and, modems if people want to. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if you could make something work on the side. There's not that much room here. But you could definitely maybe fit an SD card slot if you moved it, like, somewhere around here. Console hacking, yeah, pretty much. Like, because here's the thing. You can replace this with the broadband adapter. There's a broadband adapter so you can use it with normal Ethernet, so you don't have to go out of the way and do what I did, which is get a Dream Pi, which is like a Linux-based, internet, trick thing, where you trick your Dreamcast into thinking that Ethernet is actually modem, but Ethernet isn't actually modem, it's just tricking it, doing a little trolling to thinking that the Dreamcast, can boot into, an internet, lobby on the Dreamcast, just tricking it and stuff. I could do more research on that, but, like, let me see. Can I find it on here? Broadband adapter. Yes, here it is. Yeah, here it is. Broadband adapter, commonly abbreviated as BBA. PBA. Also known as the Dreamcast. Did I say Dreamcast? Dreamcast Link in Brazil, also known as the Dreamcast Brazilian butt-lipped adapter link in Brazil. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was a joke. I'm sorry. Forgive me. It's an accessory related to the Sega Dreamcast. It is a replacement for the built-in Dreamcast modem, allowing games to benefit from faster internet connections. Even though there weren't that many Ethernet games at the time. It's like, look at this. Like, look at this. You could definitely, get something like this to work. You could definitely make an EverDrive for this and sell it on, like, what, Stone Age Gamer? Or maybe, like, maybe Crix can look at this stream and be like, you know what, since Cordy likes his Dreamcast, maybe I can make, a specific EverDrive just for him, and everybody else can test it out. Modern Vintage Gamer could test it out. My Life in Gaming could test it out. You know, Macho Nacho Productions could test it out. I don't know, bro. I stay tuned with all these YouTubers because I like what they do. But, like, the thing is, though, I just think an EverDrive for the Dreamcast would be so cool. Like, I'm telling you, like, somebody should do it. Someone should do that. Because I sure as hell, heaven and earth, can't do that. But either way, we're getting sidetracked a little bit. We're going to finally, get into the games. We're gonna finally get into it today. Right. Don't know if you heard that. There was like a beeping noise from my controller. Apparently it has like a, you know, its battery is out of juice, and I probably need to replace it, but the screw is like, everything about the screw is like so weird, and I can't get it out for the life of me, so I'm probably gonna have to take it to my retro gaming repair shop and get that taken care of, because I don't want to buy another VMU at the moment. I like what I have. Okay, let me see if it works. Yeah, there we go. Yeah! RetroTink 5X Pro! That's what you're seeing that's allowing you to see this in all its glory. Alright. Now I'm going to full screen this here. Or, actually... yeah, okay. Alright, we're gonna be playing Sonic Adventure. That's gonna be the first game that we play for the launch games. Let's do it. Alright. Oh, gotta get my controller. Hope y'all are excited for this, because I'm super duper ooper excited. Oh, but wait, what happened to the noise? Maybe if I... maybe it has something to do with my RetroTink. Hold on. Let me try something here. No. It's not... there's no sound coming from it. That's weird. Okay, what if I just... no, I don't hear anything. Ah, blue screen. This better not crash my stream, because this is something I've been preparing for a while now. There we go. Nope, nothing. Don't hear anything. It's weird. Maybe if I do this? Nope. Hold on, sorry, forgive me. I'm just having technical difficulties at the moment. I really don't want to restart the stream because then that would mean, oh, well, no, there's part 2 that I have to watch on YouTube. Okay, well, there we go. But it's delayed. What? What's going on here? Can you just work, please? I don't want to do it with delayed audio. Ah, man, come on, man. Ah, please don't tell me I have to restart everything. I think I might have to. Hold on. I'll be right back. Might have to restart the stream again, just to see if it works. Hopefully it doesn't crash my computer. Hold on. Oh, I'll be right back. I just need to restart the stream real fast. Hold on.